Today, I am going to talk about the upcoming trip, talk about some of my patrons, some of the people that have bought a stake in my upcoming trip. Also, I am going to show you how I came up with to make a sifter classifier setup. I was really thinking along the lines of I'm not very good with a saw at all. I'm really not good with a saw at all. Better with a table saw than any other kind of saw because everything's flat. But when it comes to a saw in the hand, I'm not very good with that. Okay, I think I've said that enough. Anyways, so when I was thinking about making a sifter for, specifically I was thinking about the upcoming trip, and I was thinking about time at the Peacock and doing some noodling, surface hunting, surface collecting. Um, I wanted ease of use. I also had thought about the last time I was there and using some really big stuff, and I was thinking that something that was a little bit smaller and more portable and easier to walk around with was going to be better for me and maybe better for some of my viewers that end up visiting the Peacock at some point in time. So I went to the hardware store. Specifically, I went to Home Depot. Why am I going to specifically say Home Depot? The reason I'm going to specifically say Home Depot is because the main unit that I use for this, the basket itself, is made in America. You know, I mean, although it's only a $6, $5 item, it's a five. I think it was $4.99. It might have been $5.99, but I believe it was $4.99. It's made in America, even though it's plastic, and it had a couple of other things going on with it that I'm going to show you later. So, on that note, that's why I chose the main piece. It's a really simple project. You can build at least 4 of them for under $30. And that's really good if you have kids and you like to take them rock hounding, you're planning on taking them rock hounding, and you're new to this whole thing. This is a good DIY project for you and the family at home. You can do some of the dangerous stuff depending on the little kids. You can buy a hot glue gun and you can make this in 10 or 15, 20 minutes maximum from the beginning to end. And like I said, you can make 4 pieces using the same metal for under $30. If you get different sizes of metal, I'm using a 1/2 inch today. If you start with a 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch to 1 inch, you can stack these boxes on top of each other and classify if you'd like to. And you can even get a smaller mesh if you'd like to. So I'm going to get onto that here in a minute. First, before I get onto that, I am going to talk about I've been looking at this site called Patreon, and I have started to sign up for it. But before I launched the Patreon site for myself, I sort of wanted to have a good, quippy video made for it and for the after of people that actually subscribe to the Patreon account at some level. And I haven't had the time to do that, and I don't think I'm actually going to be able to have the time to do that until I get back from my next trip. So, I think I'm going to start the account anyways. And when I start the account, I'm just not going to have video links on it yet. But at the same time, when I do the account, the link is going to be accessible for anybody that is a Patreon or becomes one of my patrons in the future. So you'll still be able to see those videos at some point if you become one of those people. And on that note, I have had 5 people so far that have taken a stake in the digs I have upcoming. Specifically, everybody's interested in an opal from the Virgin Valley. That's specifically what everybody's interested in. And I'm pretty sure that was everybody. So I have right here, and all of these people are going to be noted inside of the videos that are dug over the next trip, because they're really a major reason that the trip is going to be going as well as it is. So I got some special thank yous to say to Simon from the United Kingdom, and Donald from Utah, and Paul from California, and Scott, Scott at me.com. You need to send me your address, buddy. I'll send you an email because I haven't done that either. So, but yeah, I need your address. So Scott from I don't know quite where yet, and Everett from VT. That's Virginia, right? Virginia Tech. I'm bad at this. Anyways, thank you to all of you. You guys, I am going to start making credits, and you guys are going to all be in the credits of the next videos of each trip. So thank you very much. Anybody else, if you would like to get in, there is still some room for anybody that would like a stake or a share of my upcoming digs, especially Topaz, man, and especially I'm going to have a lot of time to dig fire agate. I'm thinking I'm probably going to have at least 10 days to dig fire agate. So that should be a really good trip between two different places. All right. I think I've covered everything that I wanted to in the beginning, and it's probably like a 5 or 6 minute video already. But me being me and not liking to split stuff up too much, I'm going to get on to the DIY now. So I'm going to show you how to make this homemade basket classifier sifter deal. I know this is going to work good for me at the Peacock compared to what I've used before, and we're going to go to that right now. So let's do it. So this is all the supplies you're going to need in order to make this basket sifter. I'm using some 1/4 inch metal, basically chicken wire. It's in the same area of your hardware store as the chicken wire, at least. I can't remember what the exact name of this stuff is. I'm bad with that. I'm bad with that. Anyways, some tin snips, and these type of tin snips are going to work really good for cutting the basket. Some hot glue sticks. I tend to buy ones that are a little bit more rigid and tougher. Pretty much, you know, the harder it is, without being able to crack and still being able to flex, is what you're going to want, because the softer it is, the easier it's going to melt under lighter temperatures. And, you know, something to measure the bottom. Tell you the truth, on the first one I didn't measure anything. I just eyed everything. But measuring can make it easier, making lines and stuff. I cut pretty straight with these, though. So you're going to also need a basket. This basket, as you can see the name, and it's a medium, and if I can get it, there we go, you can see the numbers, all that right there. On the back it says what is it, there it is, 11 liters 12 quarts, and you can see the finished product here in the back right here. So this is what we're going to end up with. And my first attempt at it is much cruder than what we're going to do for the second one, because I'm going to be on video now. So there's that. First things first, I'm just going to take this and bend it out a little bit and cut me off an appropriate piece of metal, sort of lining up with the line of the piece of metal that's already been cut. And now I'm going to stop talking so I can fast forward mostly everything. So I have a piece of metal that's close to the size of this box, just trimmed up. I guess I'm going to use a pen too, and I should have put that on my items list. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to flatten the metal out, and I'm going to use the 2 factory edges that are untrimmed, and I'm going to sort of overlay them and then mark where I want to cut the rounds out of them, and also align on the edges that I want to trim off. And I mean, you're just basically marking the metal, so it's not like you're going to make a perfect seamless line or anything. You're just letting yourself know which metal line you're going to be running down. So I've cut myself a line that's almost invisible to you guys, or well, I shouldn't say cut. I've drawn myself a line. It's almost invisible to you guys. I've got one here, and I've got another one running cross section right there. I'm going to start with this one, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my tin snips, and I'm going to cut the metal bars. Oh, wrong line. I'm going to cut the metal bars just on this side of this crossbar going across, so I can have a straight line that has as little poking out as possible. This is the part you might want to do for your kids if you're doing anything with them, because this is the part that can be pokey. It's not easy, man. Right here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a line 3/4 of an inch away from the edge, and that's where I'm going to cut my line.
Whoops, messed that line up.
I must have been using the wrong side of the ruler on that one right there, because it's extra thin. I'm just going to widen this one out by eye. Now we cut out the bottom. With our razor blade. Okay, you want to take your piece of metal and sort of flex it to where it's semi-straight. And then put it in your basket and get it semi-lined up the way you want. And then put it aside. You don't really need that yet. What we need are these. And what we want are roughly 3/4 inch strips, which means I need to use the right proper side of the ruler. Oh, you can't even see me using the ruler. Yeah, we need 3/4 inch strips. That's what we want. Oops, make an arrow since it's so off. Now these aren't exactly perfectly straight or anything, but they really don't need to be now that I think about it, because I'm pretty good at cutting a straight line with this. Semi-straight line. Alright, doesn't need to be perfect. I'm not perfect by any means. Nowhere even close. But that is good enough. What we have there is good enough. So, on that note, we want to cut, I would say, we need at least 4, probably 5 for extra pieces. So let's go ahead and measure 1 3/4 of an inch. Okay, we're going to take our 5 pieces of plastic right here, and we are going to separate out our 2 thickest ones. That'll be these 2. There's always going to be something that's a little bit off, right? So we're going to take our 2 thickest ones, and we are going to use these for our outside edges, because specifically inside of these baskets, and one of the reasons I got them is that they, can you see the little notches? Let me get that. Not contrast, yeah, zoom. All right, you see those little notches? Those are what the other baskets sit on top of when you stack them. All right, it's also what gives your bottom some rigidity, some stiffness. So on that note, we want to keep those in there, and we don't want to mutilate them. Whoa, I'm knocking stuff over right when I said the word mutilate them. We don't want to mutilate them, we want to cut around them. So we're going to take 2 of our thickest pieces. This textured side, this is the side you're going to want to glue down, so that's going to be your bottom. You're going to put one on one side and one on the other. First thing you're probably going to notice is, like me, is that they're too long. Okay, that's really not a big deal because we need to cut half rounds into these edges anyways. These are going to be our rounded corners. So it's pretty simple. Look at the edge that it's going into. Alright, look at that edge right there, right? So you can see it goes like that. You can see the corner. Just need to take off a rounded section of corner, just like that, right? Really easy. So here's a section of corner, and it did about a number like that, right? So we'll just come over here and look at it. Whoops. Look at that. That's great. Now I can even see right where that marker is, and I'm just going to go ahead and guesstimate it. Just going to go ahead and guesstimate it was right there, even after I dropped it, because that's going to be plenty big enough to take over it. All right. See there? I have way more room than I need, but it really doesn't matter because I'm going to use hot glue to put this together anyways, right? Right. So it really doesn't matter. Now on this end, on the other end, I have tons of extra room. Tons and tons of extra room. Like, I need to lose some space here. So I'm going to start by trimming off 1/2 inch, right? Start with 1/2 inch because I had a lot of space and I don't want to lose too much. And that's about a perfect amount of loss right there. Come on. Now I need contrast. There you go. So now I can see where I need to put the half round. I need to take off, go in that direction. I can even see my little thumbprint in it. Alright, I just took out right where my thumbprint was. Let me fix my lighting situation. About damn time I fixed that, huh? So, we got that side and we got this side. I'm going to take off another little section of that edge right there and then notch this. That was a little bit too pointy. And then that notch is right about here. And that is just about perfect. There's only one thing I don't really like about this piece, and that's that if you look down there, see how it's sort of wobbly right there? I'm just going to take off a section of this and make it sit in a little bit more. And taking a little section of this too. Just that. Alright, let's see how that goes. Oh yeah, I like that way better. So, there's one. Now I'm going to do the other. Alright, so I've got my two plastic ends cut. I set those out on the side. Take my metal grate, trying to get it as flat as possible. Now this is where if you got a glue gun, you can do it in steps, but it's just pretty simple, right? We hot glue this to that, and so on. Wow, dummy, I did it again. And there you have it. Overall cost for this probably about, I don't know, $7 by itself. That's what I'm guesstimating. It's not ultimately beautiful, but it is ultimately useful. Now, why did I pick something like this? Why did I pick this one instead of doing your classic sort of wood box routine that most people have? One, it's light. That's one major reason. Number two, I think I can use this like a scooper or with a small hand shovel and scoop stuff into it and quickly shake it and keep on walking. So I can do it, carry this and go through a bunch of material while I'm still mobile and moving around. And that's a huge deal to me when I'm hunting opals at the Royal Peacock. I like to be mobile if I'm doing noodling. So I think this is going to become really useful for that. I think this is also going to be really useful for sunstones because of the size of it. It is portable to where I can bring my own water. You can bring your own water. You can have a larger square plastic tub, put a couple of gallons of water in it you bring with you, and you can rinse stuff on your own. So that's why I did this. That's why I think it's a good idea. And, you know, like I said, you can do it with the family, but be careful. That's why I started using a rock halfway in between, and I probably said that in the voiceovers that I'm going to do in a minute, because you don't want to burn yourself. Burning yourself sucks, and with the way I was using the hot glue, it's totally able to burn myself real easily. If you have a hot glue gun, you'll still burn yourself the way I did, because the reason I burned myself is when I was putting pressure and the glue was squeezing out on the ends on some places, and it was touching my skin and sticking, and it's all hot and burny and ow and sucks and oh! So anyways, and because we cut the notches and we kept those little things in there, if you want to do different size screens, you totally can. You know, if you wanted to make these and use these for classification, you totally can. So, there we go there. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you get a notification every time I post a new video. Also, check the links in the description so you can get access to the Facebook group, my Etsy store, and all my social media sites. And if you'd like to help support Mining America, there are two ways you can do that. You can buy a grub stake in one of my upcoming digs, or you can become one of my patrons on my Patreon account. Grub staking money will directly support each dig that it is attributed to. Any money sent through the Patreon account is going to directly benefit production software, miking, and cameras. Thank you for watching, and thank you for your support. Don't forget to share. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye, guys.